Time rewinds 30 years to Russo Hill, where the sky is stained blood-red by smoke. Soldiers scream desperately amidst the hail of bullets. This is a true meat grinder. The enemy's imperial buzz saw Reaps lives indiscriminately. Watching his comrades fall one by one, the commander desperately tries to hold back that restless figure. But nothing can stop her. Ignoring orders, Red charges out of the cover like an unleashed beast, leaving behind a trail of gasps and curses. Crude bandages accompany searing pain. The medic angrily scolds her recklessness, but Red grits her teeth, her eyes burning with a reckless paranoia. The scene shifts to nightfall. Red seems to sense a suffocating presence, while deep in the darkness, a pair of eyes watches coldly. In this cold, gloomy room, the reptile appears. Duval's voice hisses like a venomous snake, scornfully declaring she will put a leash on this disobedient puppy. Cold fingers trace the gruesome wounds. Duval lists Red's injuries with a near-morbid calm, her eyes holding no pity, only scrutiny. It is pure suppression. Facing Red's struggle, Duval inflicts punishment without mercy. Blood stains the white gloves, yet it brings a twisted pleasure to the tormentor. Red pants in agony on the bed, while Duval stares at her own bloodied hands, seemingly confused why this prey remains so defiant despite being broken. Finally, that hand strokes Red's cheek, gentle yet lethal. In the whisper of, "I'll stay with you," Red realizes that this war has completely turned her fate upside down. Under a gloomy sky, the roar of military truck engines breaks the dead silence. The gears of war turn once more, filling the air with a grim, suffocating heaviness. As the commander steps up to boost morale, the convoy moves out amidst swirling dust. The long war welcomes another grim September, dragging everyone into its massive meat grinder. Gazing at the flag fluttering in the smoke, Red feels an inexplicable palpitation. In the face of this massive, cruel war machine, individual lives seem as insignificant as dust. Arriving at the assembly point, Red looks at the reptilian allies with unconcealed disgust. Even in enemy territory, his prejudice against the other race remains as sharp as a poisoned thorn. Pain strikes, and just as he's about to curse, he looks up into a cold stare. It's that medic looking down and scrutinizing him on the ground, instantly freezing the air. Red stands up, trying to salvage his dignity. He expects a quiet, reserved doctor, but when their eyes meet, the sharpness and oppression in her slit pupils tighten his chest. His disguise is instantly seen through. Captain Duval mercilessly points out his injury, her tone bone-chilling as she questions his ability and mocks the command's decision to send the wounded to die. The conversation reeks of gunpowder. Facing the medic's humiliating warning, Red snaps back like a cornered beast, baring his fangs and refusing to admit his vulnerability or burden. Persuasion fails. The medic spreads her hands in resignation, her eyes turning cold again. If this beast is bent on a death wish, she won't waste any more sympathy. Hearing the cold words behind him, Red boils with rage and violently kicks the rubble. Her haughty attitude completely reignites his bone-deep hatred for reptilians. Gritting his teeth, he vows never to bow to her. He only wants to tear apart the enemies known as birds. However, an ominous thunder suddenly rolls from the distant horizon. It's not thunder, it's an air raid. Piercing screeches tear through the sky as countless bird-like shadows descend with explosive fire, instantly turning the ruins into a living hell. Chaos erupts in the trenches, smoke obscuring all vision. Soldiers fire back blindly in desperation, never knowing from which direction death will strike next, with only instinct screaming. Explosions tear through the air as the ambush hits without warning. Red sprints through the fire, snatching a gun from an ally, her eyes burning with rage. Damned cowards. Meanwhile, shadows cast over the sky. Enemy avians circle like vultures, coldly targeting the convoy. With a single command, death dives from the clouds. Red screams desperately for them to run, but her warning is drowned out by incoming bombs. In a deafening blast, the convoy turns into a sea of fire, lives extinguished in an instant. Watching the flames rage, Red grits her teeth, spitting out the name, Peter Vogt. It is this shared enemy that forced mammals and reptiles to put aside their hatred and unite for survival. The battlefield turns into a slaughterhouse as avians exploit their aerial advantage. Ground troops wail in despair, helplessly watching their comrades fall one by one amidst the smoke. "Please, I surrender," the soldier begs on his knees, answered only by the cold click of a loading gun. There is no mercy, just a ruthless hail of bullets staining the dust with blood. Seeing a reptile recruit trembling behind cover, Red explodes with rage. Roaring at him to fight back, she fires her weapon, forcibly turning his fear into violent survival instinct. Worrying about clothes at a time like this? Red's face twists in rage, but Duval lets out a scornful laugh amidst the bombardment. Huh, your face looked ridiculous just now. Another explosion rocks the ground. Putting aside the argument, Red drags the madwoman through the rain of bullets. Shut up and run if you want to live. Survival instinct overrides her disgust. Suddenly, a sharp pain shoots through Red. Her beast form is failing. Damn it, not now. Her hand spasms and morphs in agony, leaving her terribly vulnerable. I want to live. I have to live. Red grips Duval's shoulders, her eyes burning with a wild survival instinct, forcing the other to face the choice between life and death. We have to avenge ourselves. Drag those high-flying. Her declaration is cut short by a heavy blow, smashing Red into the ground, blood spilling from her lips. The seemingly frail medic possesses shocking strength, pinning Red in an instant. Then, a cold warning whispers in her ear. If you want to live, stop barking and behave. The hunter has become the prey. Orange wings slice through the gloom as the enemy descends with a roar, unleashing a lethal barrage that engulfs the ground in fire. The explosion hurls Red into the debris. She curls up, every breath a jagged agony, her consciousness fading amidst the ringing silence. Amidst the smoke, Duval coldly looks down at Red, listing her injuries with clinical detachment, yet Red stubbornly refuses to stay down. Just fix me. Red's desperate plea is met with searing liquid poured into her wound. Pain explodes as Duval coldly states her only goal is survival. Red snarls, trying to fight the pain with rage, while Duval prepares the morphine, a flicker of tension in her eyes, grit through it. Though consciousness fades, the burning need for vengeance drives Red, her mind screaming to return to the battlefield for her fallen comrades. As morphine numbs the agony, Red fights the heavy pull of sleep, glaring at the woman she loathes, resisting the vulnerability forced upon her. When she opens her eyes, the battle is over, replaced by a deadly sunset silence. Soldiers call out for survivors, a victory that feels like a funeral. You're still alive? Amidst disbelief, Red stumbles to her feet, her battered body a testament to the hell she just survived. Corpses line the ground, the enemy annihilated, no prisoners taken. Red stares at the grim tableau, feeling the cold, brutal cost of victory. What about our wounded? Red turns to see comrades writhing in unattended agony. The medics are gone, targeted first by a ruthless enemy. The officer's word lucky tastes like bile. Watching reinforcements crumble, Red realizes the enemy methodically severed their hope by targeting the healers. The blood-red sunset casts a long, lonely shadow. Being the sole survivor feels less like a miracle and more like a suffocating burden. The scene shifts to a dim tent, where the air is thick with antiseptic and despair, punctuated by the hollow coughing of the broken survivors. Red sits alone, silently tending to her wounds. The eye patch covers her vision, but cannot block the surging memories and isolation within. A sudden flashback, explosions detonate in her mind. It's the moment of life and death, adrenaline spiking, nothing real but her ragged breath. Hold on tight. In her memory, covered in blood, she fights with every last ounce of strength to protect the one in her arms, ignoring her own shredded hands. You did good. The voice pierces through the pain. Hands press on her wounds, promising survival, offering a fleeting, desperate reliance. Don't forget you owe me. Duval's fingers graze her cheek. The bloody promise hangs between them, a threat and an unbreakable bond. The memory snaps shut and reality crashes back down. Red buries her head, curling into the shadows, letting the displaced agony consume her. In the dim room, she covers her mouth, stifling a scream, her eyes burning with a mix of agony and rage. Staring at her bandaged comrades, her heart wrenches, while the empty bed screams silently of the war's brutal cost. The scene shifts to the camp, where an angry roar pierces the heavy air. Clutching a bottle, the captain spits words of blame, unable to accept the devastating price paid for dropping their guard after retaking the point. Tension thickens in the tent as the captain's complaints are cut short by a subordinate's late arrival. Yet, beneath the banter, a desk strewn with documents pulls everyone back to reality. They're facing an unprecedented crisis. The captain's finger jabs at the map, conjuring images of the smoke-filled battlefield. Reinforcement plans are shattered. The officer's eyes widen in disbelief upon learning that mere guerrilla forces have stalled an entire regiment. Though the enemy lacks resources, our side is forced to rely on alien allies to clean up the mess. Mentioning the wounded, the captain lowers his brim, his voice betraying a hidden weight as the war's attrition gnaws at everyone's will. Under the twilight, crosses fill the graveyard. The original medical team is wiped out. Learning that reptiles will take over medical support, the captain curls his lip in a sneer, a smile chillingly laced with racial prejudice. Alcohol fails to numb the unease. The captain closes his eyes in exhaustion, letting out a heavy sigh. Gazing at the mixed species camp outside, the revulsion of working alongside freaks suffocates him. Memories flood back to the medical tent, thick with the stench of blood and screams, where a red-haired figure barged in. Faced with the masked medic's query, she remained silent as the heart-rending cries of the wounded threatened to shred her sanity.